Fear, the one thing that doesn't need an invitation, but still shows up at 3 a.m. to ruin your sleep. Nightmares are like the unpaid bills of your brain. You don't want them, but they just keep piling up. But here's the weird part. Nightmares are not random glitches. They are designed by evolution, by culture, by us. Fear was not a curse humans stumbled into, it was something we engineered, because without it, we probably wouldn't even be here. So, buckle up, let's peel back the shadows and uncover the hidden story behind why humans invented fear, and why your nightmares are secretly your brain's favorite bedtime story. Number 7. Fear as an alarm system. Imagine you're one of the first humans, asleep in the grasslands. No weapons, no fire, no locks, just you, the stars, and something growling in the distance. What do you have? Fear. That sick rush of adrenaline is what jolts you awake before the predator's teeth sink in. Nightmares simulate that moment, falling from cliffs, being chased, suffocating underwater. They're not punishment, they're rehearsals. Think of your brain like a paranoid director staging endless what-if scenarios. What if you're drowning? Run it again. What if the snake bites? Rehearse it until survival becomes muscle memory. Fear feels irrational today because we live with alarms, fences, and passwords, but back then, fear was the alarm system. Without it, you'd sleep soundly and wake up in someone else's stomach. Number 6. Fear is social glue. Let's be honest, humans don't survive alone, we survive in tribes. And nothing bonds a tribe faster than a shared fear. Ancient campfires weren't lit for warmth. They were theaters, and the shows were terrifying. Parents told children about demons in the dark, spirits in rivers, monsters in caves. Not because they enjoyed traumatizing kids, but because fear was the fastest way to teach survival rules. A horror story was basically a user manual disguised as entertainment. Don't wander out at night, there's a witch. Translation. Predators hunt after sunset. Don't swim too far, there's a water demon. Translation. Drowning is real. Nightmares are just personal versions of those tribal myths. They scare you into caution. And when everyone shares the same nightmares, congratulations, you've got a culture. Number 5. Fear as currency of power. Once humans learned that fear controls behavior, it didn't take long for leaders to weaponize it. Kings, priests, generals all figured out the same trick. If you want obedience, don't just give orders, give nightmares. Fear of curses, fear of eternal fire, fear of invisible punishments waiting after death. Religion and politics understood what biology already knew. Fear bypasses reason. It doesn't argue, it commands. And nightmares reinforced this. When someone dreamt of spirits, demons, or apocalyptic floods, it validated the warnings of the powerful. Fear became not just a survival tool, but a political currency. Obey, or your worst dream comes true. The scary part, this strategy still works. We don't dream of demons as much, but we do dream of losing jobs, losing status, being cancelled. Fear evolves, but power keeps spending it like money. Number 4. Fear as creative fuel. Here's the irony. Fear doesn't just paralyze us, it builds civilizations. Our nightmares are the blueprints of our imagination. Think of every great myth. Medusa's gaze, vampires stalking at night, Lovecraft's cosmic horrors. They all sprouted from the soil of nightmares. Fear is the shadow artist inside your skull, sketching monsters you've never met. Even architecture reflects this. Gothic cathedrals weren't just stone, they were nightmares frozen into buildings, with gargoyles staring down at you as if to say, remember what's out there. Horror movies today work the same way. We hate fear, but we line up to buy tickets for it. Why? Because fear sharpens us, it thrills us. It makes us feel alive in ways safety never does. So, yes, nightmares keep you up at night, but they also built the stories, art, and culture that still keep us awake centuries later. Number 3. Fear as a mirror. The scariest monsters aren't outside, they're inside. Nightmares expose what you pretend doesn't exist in daylight. Afraid of failure, your brain turns it into dreams where you're naked in class, unprepared for the test. Afraid of losing control, you dream of falling endlessly. Afraid of rejection, you dream of chasing someone who always walks away. Nightmares exaggerate because subtlety doesn't get your attention. They're your subconscious staging an intervention. You're not fine. Stop lying. Look. That's why nightmares are so hard to shake. They feel personal because they are personal. They're not random horror movies. They're mirrors you didn't ask to look into. Number 2. Fear as evolutionary hack. Strip away the myths, the politics, the culture, and fear is still the greatest evolutionary hack ever coded into human DNA. Other animals have claws, fangs, shells. Humans had goosebumps and sweaty palms. Not exactly intimidating, but fear made up the difference. It taught us to run before the strike, to prepare before the storm, to invent weapons before the predator showed up. Nightmares fine-tuned this system. By simulating danger in dreams, our brains gave us free practice sessions. Every nightmare was a dress rehearsal for survival. And the tribes whose brains rehearsed more, they survived more. Evolution rewarded the fearful. Fear didn't make us weak, fear made us clever. Without it, humanity would be just another extinct species with nice cave art. Number 1. Fear as the shadow of freedom. Here's the final twist. Fear never leaves, it just changes costumes. When we conquered wild beasts, fear didn't retire, it moved into morality, sin, guilt, shame. When we mastered the seas, fear didn't vanish, it showed up in stories of sea monsters. When we invented planes, fear followed us into the clouds. When we cured diseases, fear crept into our anxieties about identity, loneliness, and failure. Fear grows with us because it is us. It's the shadow that proves we're moving forward. Without freedom, there's no fear. Without fear, there's no progress. And nightmares, they're the reminder that no matter how far we run into light, there's always a shadow chasing us. So here's the hidden story. Humans didn't just inherit fear, we cultivated it. We turned it into myths, laws, religions, and art. We wrapped it into nightmares, carried it into daylight, and called it wisdom. Fear is not your enemy, it's your oldest invention. But the question is, are you using fear as a leash or as a compass? If this video made you feel a little uneasy but also a little enlightened, then hit that subscribe button. Because there's nothing scarier than missing the next story your nightmares forgot to tell you.